How confident are you that the Church of Jesus Christ will flourish? Especially during this time of coronavirus, I wonder if you've been tempted to question whether the church is relevant, let alone that it'll thrive and triumph. Psalm 132 helps us frame and answer that question. It's a psalm written after the time of David, perhaps during exile, that looks back on the promises to David and questions whether they'll be fulfilled. Look at the first couple verses. Remember, O Lord, in David's favor all the hardships he endured, how he swore to the Lord and vowed to the Mighty One of Jacob, I will not enter my house or get into my bed. I will not give sleep to my eyes or slumber to my eyelids until I find a place for the Lord, a dwelling place for the Mighty One of Jacob. David was zealous for God's house. The psalm goes on to allude to how David brought the ark up to Jerusalem and got things ready for the temple to be built. But the concern here is that God won't keep his promises to faithful David. Look at verse 10. For the sake of your servant David, do not turn away the face of your anointed one. God's response is one of confident assurance. Look at verse 11. The Lord swore to David a sure oath from which he will not turn back. One of the sons of your body I will set on your throne. If your sons keep my covenant and my testimonies that I shall teach them, their sons also forever shall sit on your throne. Even though things look bleak right now for the house of David when this author is writing, God promises he will keep his promise to set a greater son on David's throne. And we know from the New Testament he did. The angel Gabriel told Mary in Luke 1 that Jesus would inherit the throne of his father David. And in Acts 2, Peter stands up on Pentecost and says that happened. When Christ was raised, when he was ascended, he sat down at God's right hand. He sat down on the throne of his father David. He became Lord and Christ. He was king. He was named king over his church. And that's good news for us who belong to Jesus Christ, because we are now in the kingdom of the one reigning from the Davidic throne. So when you read verses 15 and 16, I will abundantly bless her provisions. I will satisfy her poor with bread. Her priests I will clothe with salvation, and her saints will shout for joy. That picture is true of us now. God provides for us. He gives us salvation. He causes us to shout for joy. So as you go about your day, and as you think about the church, as you think about your church, be confident that because Jesus is raised and on the throne now, his church will triumph.